And why don't you guys go ahead and mute your audio so that there's no background noise, and then at the end you can unmute if you have questions or whatever. Okay, so today is May 13th, Tuesday, May 13th, and I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about some of our new coaches. They kind of got started, and it has me thinking this week about some of the difficulties that I had when I first started, a lot of questions that I had and different things. So I decided to kind of take one of the most basic tasks that we have and kind of review with you guys my process for it. Because I know that sometimes people or our different coaches on our team will, have questions or get stuck as part of the process of, um, talking to new prospects or talking to new coaches and things like that. So I really wanted to kind of get things back to basics, being able to go back to the invitation process and the things that we learned as a brand new coach, some of the paperwork that we, print out and things like that, for us to go through together. So, I had just mentioned this to Sarah too, that, when we first started, you get a little bit overwhelmed and inundated with all this information. And so for me, the easiest thing that I did in the very beginning was get a 3-ring binder for myself to be able to print out all these reference sheets to have so that I could go back to them later. I have since actually graduated my binder with sheet protectors and tabs and different things, extra paper to take notes in different sections. And honestly, to this day, I still refer back to the binder. I do have some various online applications that I use too, but really having the paper in front of me and being able to refer back when I have questions, when I'm talking to somebody, is really a big help. So talking about the invite process, we want to talk to anybody about joining our challenge group or just sharing anything about our transformation or Shakeology or anything that is going on with us. We kind of want to kind of go back to this invitation process so that we can get our point across and understand a little bit more about making that connection with the person. So let's see. One of the key important things that I want to kind of also get across to you guys too is that, you do print out all of these documents and all these step-by-step processes to follow, but what you really want to do is go through it thoroughly and then personalize it to you and your brand. And that way, when you're coming across to somebody, it doesn't seem scripted. It doesn't seem like you're reading from a book, and that never feels right anyways. That never works. I've had jobs in the past where sales jobs, they've had me memorize portfolios and things like that. And when my boss would get me in front of the customer, he'd say, okay, you have to verbatim, say this to this customer. I would get flustered and I would never, ever be able to make that connection with the person because it wasn't me. It wasn't real. It wasn't authentic. So when we talk about, connecting with people, it's so important that you form them first. And these are all, this is all documents that you're going to get as you go through the coach training process as a new coach. You'll get the information on what forming is, how to build relationships, step-by-step ways to do that. I still, like I said, reference these materials all the time because I feel like those days that I get lost or I get overwhelmed, I can go back and read what it is to the core that I am supposed to be doing and how I'm supposed to be reaching out to my customers. So, the first thing that you want to think about is, starting a relationship with someone, whether it's in person or on social media, Facebook, Instagram. MyFitnessPal is a favorite of mine. So the first thing that I'll, do it is, reach out with questions. I'll use the MyFitnessPal example for you guys because that's really been very successful for me. I think everybody kind of has their niche on what they use, but for me, I've been able to really kind of master a lot of friends, if you will, in MyFitnessPal. So the first kinds of things I'll do to try to spark that relationship would be to reach out to somebody that's in my niche market, somebody that's 40 years old and has toddlers and is a mom that stays home. Those kinds of things I look for. You can go in and read those profiles. Same with Facebook or Instagram. You can see pictures that people might post of things that interest you, whether it's their children or fitness or food or what have you. So use that kind of same common thread to reach out to those people. Um, questions. That's all I can say is you need to ask lots of questions. I'll reach out with, how are you today? How was your Mother's Day? Commenting on a picture with a question. On Instagram, I'll usually try to find something that has to do with a family or a little boy or a little girl that looks like my son or daughter's age, and I'll say, oh, so cute. How old are they? And that will usually lead to, is that your only child? Do you stay home with them? And just kind of continue the process of getting to know that person. With this type of business, it's not about icky salesy trying to sell them Shakeology. I mean, that's not the bottom line. We're looking to build long-term relationships with people, build that trust, build that loyalty. And so asking tons of questions and getting to know these people are going to help you to uncover what it is that their needs are. And that's huge because you can't tell them that they need Shakeology unless they tell you first that they have a problem with nutrition in some shape or form, or they only eat fast food at lunch and they don't have time for anything else, or something to that effect. So, by finding out as much as possible about their life, their family, if they work, if they stay home, what they do for fun, those kinds of things, then you can kind of get a better feel for their needs and then start to share with them what you've done with your own fitness. If you had an amazing transformation, or you just really put all the pieces together by joining a challenge group. I always tell people, for me, I never really had a trouble with motivation of wanting to exercise. I've always loved fitness, but I never knew how to eat. I never had that piece of the puzzle, and by joining my own challenge group last year, it kind of connected all those pieces together for me and finally got me to the place where I am. And I did have an amazing transformation by losing 80 pounds. So it's kind of different for everybody, and you kind of fact find with people as you go through that process. Don't make any mistakes by skipping steps. And I think that for me, sometimes I'll even get carried away with, I got to reach out to 5 people a day, or I need to reach at my new goal of 10 people a day, and be trying to get all those numbers, higher for me so that my return is higher. And sometimes you miss a beat. Somebody jumps right back to you and says, yeah, I'm interested. And you just all of a sudden want to vomit the product all over them. And you kind of have to take that step back, find out what their goals are, find out what they're looking to accomplish before you can share with them what it is that what we do and how we do it, and those kinds of things. Another big thing that helps me to have printed out are the objections, the list of objections. I found myself last month going, what is it that I cannot get these answers for these people? And I said, you know what, I need to really step back and go back to the paperwork that we're given in the very beginning from the online office and read what some of these objections are, following other coaches and finding out what they say and give, for their objections is a big help. So, going back to the basic invite process, going back to the objections and the paperwork that comes in the online office that tells us how to go through the step-by-step process and at what stage to say what and how and when and that kind of thing. So the other part of this is that I do have, I use Evernote a lot for my a lot of different correspondence with people, I should say. I've got everything in here from my Fitness Pal to Instagram to information on Shakeology, a lot of different things that I can copy and paste into an email or to an instant message. And I've actually got the invite process as well as some other different tips and things that I've pulled in from other training groups that I've been in and melded some of things together and that kind of thing. So, typically when I get in front of somebody, we'll use the example that I had tonight. There's this girl that I haven't talked to for 6, 7, 8 months. I know she's been in school. She's really struggling with her weight, but I knew she was really busy with school, and she's about to wrap up finals. And so I said, hey, how was your Mother's Day? I know she has children. And I knew she's really busy with that and school and everything and tough to juggle her weight loss and all those things. So I reached out to her today. How's it going? How was Mother's Day? And she's getting ready to be done with school, but she's really down on herself because she hasn't done anything with her health and fitness. And she's like, tell me more about your group now. Can be able to spend some time this summer that way. So I was all excited when she replied back that she was interested finally again to revisit things. And so immediately I'm thinking, what do I say? What do I say? Yay, I'm so excited. So I go back right off when I get responses like that, and I'll go into my Evernote, and one of my first notebooks, they call it, is Beachbody invite. And next to that, I have several different other invites. And so pretty much what I would come back to her at this point with was, can you tell me a little bit more about your goals right now, short term as well as long? What's your nutrition like? What's a typical day look like for you? And she came back to me a little short with, I want to lose 10 pounds by August. And long term, I want to be at like 140. And she said she's 240 now. And I said, okay, so that's really not giving me a lot to go on. And the biggest thing with that is you want to, get them to tell you more about their why. So sometimes I want to say skip over that part and go into, okay, so the group is blah 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 blah, and you can't do that, and so that's why going back to my reference pages really helps me to get more grounded and having everything in front of me, and I can say, okay, so I definitely want to send you information, but first I want to ask you what's really motivating you to commit to make a change right now. So I've sent that to her a little bit ago to see where she would come back with me. Sometimes it's hard because you don't also want them to be like, what are you, a shrink? You're trying to shrink me and find out my why. So, there's a couple different ways you can ask somebody a little bit more about their goals and stuff. Through some of our trainings, we've gotten some other examples from top coaches, and some of their examples will be like, wow, 25 pounds sounds like a great goal. How amazing would that make you feel? Or who are you doing this for? Have you had success in the past with what you're doing now? Is there a size pants you're aiming for or hitting your goal? Different things like that, because I think that with each person it's a little bit different. So the more that you know specifically about the person that you're forming and finding out, again, it's a big reason why you ask them so many questions. I feel like maybe sometimes I might wait a little bit too long on my Fitness Pal to invite them over to Facebook, because the ultimate goal is that I want them to be on my Facebook friends so that they can see my posts and my motivation and things like that. But in the same token, I feel like the relationships that I form may not just be ready for that. Come over and see my Facebook page statement just yet. So I think, again, it's something that you feel out with the individual person. Some people jump right on to things that you say. I feel like, especially with Instagram and, MyFitnessPal, they can see who I am. There's no secret that I'm a Beachbody coach. There's no secret that I work out to Beachbody programs and that I drink Shakeology and all that stuff. So if they're, looking at my profile to begin with, they're knowing, what I do, that I'm healthy, that I'm exercising, and that kind of stuff. So, try to say to them, come and see me in these different lights, because Facebook, I can send you more information. You can see pictures. We share recipes, that kind of stuff, and so kind of goes from there. I don't think there's really anything else. I mean, more or less, once I can get them to, go through their why with me, I can get them to, I tell them, that the group is, really going to be this perfect start for you, and it's going to help you reach your goal, create that permanent lifestyle change that you're looking for you and maybe your family too, depending on what they say and what they're really looking for, their ultimate goal, their why. And then I have them check out the video that comes with the forming process. And more recently, I created my own video, which I also got as a tip from another coach. And so if you haven't seen the Ever Feel Like This video, it pretty much is summing up what a challenge group is, what it's doing, that they're going to have to commit to a program, that they're going to commit to drinking Shakeology, and those sorts of things. And what I did was I took that information and made it my own. I almost wonder if I can share the screen and show you guys it. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick here. I think I probably can, just so you can get an idea. All right. Hopefully you can hear it too.
Wow, what a workout. Hi, my name is Megan Anderson, and I'm a teen Beachbody coach, and you're receiving this message because you have expressed interest in one of my health and fitness accountability groups. So what is a health and fitness accountability groups? Well, it is a small group of people that get on to Facebook in a secret private page, and we work together and focus on our fitness, our nutrition, and of course support and accountability. A lot of what we do is share in each other's struggles and successes. We share recipes and ideas and some of the things that are working for us but may not be working for you, and vice versa, and basically getting out of the 90-day group success. I started out with my own group last year for the umpteenth time on this weight loss journey. I was doing the workouts but missing something, and discovered my own online accountability challenge group when I started my Les Mills Combat program. I am a mom of 3, so this was coming off of my last pregnancy that put me up over 215 or more. So I was trying to get back down to my pre-pregnancy weight, and I was really just stuck. For me, I don't have any problem being motivated to do the workouts. I do struggle with food and nutrition, and at this point in my journey, I really had no clue as to where to go. When I discovered and started my own challenge group through my coach, it was just an eye-opening experience. We learned about calories and logging those calories and understanding the quality of a calorie and how to go about eating the right foods at the right times a day to have success and lose weight. So when I started my program and I started to do all of those things in conjunction with the support of my other group members, within 60 days, I was seeing complete success. The missing piece of the puzzle was having other people that were going through the same struggles and issues as I was, working together as a team, checking in on a morning, daily basis with everyone. Really just changed everything for me. So what we worked on in our group, as I mentioned, was fitness, accountability, and nutrition, meal planning, things of that nature. And so I committed to my group drinking one Shakeology every day, working out to my fitness program of choice, which at the time was Les Mills Combat, and posting and being active in my group every single day. So that formula, in conjunction and with the support of everyone else, including my coach, really got me to where I needed to be. Within 60 days of following my program, I broke my plateau and dropped 2 pant sizes. And I've just continued to have amazing success since, and has gotten me so excited about this process that that's why I want to share it with you. So take a look at some more of this information on challenge groups and come back to me with any questions that you have. And I really look forward to meeting with you, working with you, and having some success of yours too. We can do this together.
All right. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea of, something that different that you can do to make it your own, to make it more personable. And I only thought to do that because I had seen it from Super Saturday. Lisa was with me, right? Didn't that was the coach that she showed us that. So I've done that recently, but up till then, the Ever Feel Like This video was doing its job, and anybody that had seen it, when you send a video like that, it basically tells them what their commitments are, and then they'll give you feedback almost right away of, this is for me or this is not for me. So I feel like it's a really good tool to use, and I'm a very visual person, so I feel like sharing stuff like that with other people helps them to understand and stuff too. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys. I wanted to just share a little bit about what I do, and then, find out from you guys if you had any questions, and that's pretty much it. Any questions? It's so new at this point for you, Sarah. You'll probably have way more questions way later, but probably not just yet, because we haven't really got to that part yet.
Yeah. So over the last couple of weeks, I've increased the amount of people that I'm talking to. But as I alluded to in a post earlier in the week, I feel like I talk a lot, but I'm not inviting. And I've sort of tripped into what Success Club points I've had, and I've been lucky to trip in at over 5 every month consecutively this year.
Yeah.
And once I get out of my own inner circle, the 400 people on Facebook or whatever, it's become much harder to sort of have that conversation and get them over. So, the last couple of weeks I've really been focusing on just talking to people, informing them. And now I have to not switch gears, but add to that, the getting them over to Facebook to see all that content and see the value that I provide and my brand provides. So that's something I'm going to start working on now.
Yeah,
and sort
no,
of
that's
focusing
great.
on that.
Would you say that you're get stuck at a certain point? I feel like there's certain things you can say that will trigger the conversation to get to the invite bite process. I'll sometimes it will happen where you can ask them about their goals. That sometimes triggers that conversation. Or if they ask you after you've asked them what they do, they ask you what you do, then you kind of can get into it a little bit that way too. um, I've had different circumstances where they'll know I'm a coach, and then and they, even if they say like you're so motivational, you're inspirational, I love your posts, then I would say there's even more of that on Facebook if you want to come over there. Or like with My Fitness Pal, I almost take them to almost the whole end of everything, and then once they're ready to commit, then I say come to Facebook, because it just goes that way. So I think it's, every connection you have with people is different, but if you feel like you're looking to bring them over sooner, then trying to find that point where, like, after you find out what they do for a living and what they're doing this weekend, then kind of, because I think once you've done it a bunch of times, then you can use that same question over and over and over, and put it in a different way. And that's really what I've done with My Fitness Pal, is I use the same exact thing on almost everybody to reach out, and they pretty much give me just different variables. Some people are like gushing with paragraphs over how they're doing. And then other people are like, one word, I'm fine, kind of thing. So they're a little bit tougher. But I think also it's getting easier for me. Like this week, I started to go back into My Fitness Pal. I think I was telling you guys this before, that I have all these friends, but half of them are like, disconnected from the site now. They're sitting in there as like a whole placeholder, but you go in and it says they haven't logged in 6 months. So I went last night into the old ones and started weeding them out and reconnecting with some of the other ones. That I haven't talked to since maybe like last summer. It's been almost a year that I haven't, talked to these people. So, reaching out, kind of the same way that I've been doing, how's it going? If I have notes on them from the summertime, I can kind of go back and say, hey, how's your kid? You said you had a 4-year-old or whatever, but being able to go through, I was missing my point, because some of those people that I went back to turned out to be like single 20-somethings, and I don't know anything about that age group now. Like before, when we first started coaching, you were like, as a free-for-all, you're just going to make friends with everybody, And so now that I know that I'm really most comfortable with stay-at-home moms that are in my age group, that have little kids going to school, preschool, elementary school like me, that I'm obviously more relatable to those people. I was in the workforce, but I'm not anymore. So that's another angle. Sometimes I talk to people about, if they have a busy job and they're trying to juggle it all. They always ask me, how do you do it with 3 kids? And, just do it. But going back in and weeding out the non-niche market, I think is helping me too. I would rather be talking to people that I have so much more in common with, on those levels. And I think the conversation gets easier. And like I said, if you can force yourself to go there a couple of times, then it'll just get easier and easier and easier. You can ask the same exact question to get them over onto Facebook. I'll say stuff like, hey, I'm liking the way the conversation is going. So I'll say, hey, I post daily motivation recipes and all kinds of fun stuff on Facebook. Do you have an account? Send me a friend request, and then I'll copy and paste my Facebook link from my page in there. And I've gotten a lot of people to do that too. A lot of people come over and they're not interested in the group, but they are interested in talking to me and being my friend still. So it's not like it's a dead end. They're just, not ready or whatever. So I think you just have to probably find the right transition, but force yourself to do it, because otherwise you'll just keep dragging your feet by not doing it.
Right.
Yeah, because I
Do
would
you
say
guys?
that the goal is to get the person onto Facebook, not necessarily to get them in the challenge group. I feel like your objective is to get people to see your content on Facebook. So that's kind of the bottom line, is to get them all in the one spot. So then you can do your posts and your daily info, and they can see all that too. So
Well, it just gets overwhelming. So if you think about, I'm trying to do 25 a day, so 10 Instagram, 10 Twitter, and 5 Facebook, which some might argue it should be 30, 10, 10, and 10. But regardless, if I start 25 new conversations a day, and let's say, 6 of those conversations actually go somewhere, that's like a snowball effect. So now I'm trying to do 25 new and manage 6 and then 12 and then 18 and then 24. And it's like, at what point can I start cutting some of those conversations off and moving them over to
right.
Facebook? Because I'm not, I think you had mentioned on a call last week, or maybe it was in an email, I don't remember, that you don't, you don't try to sell them or even talk to them about the opportunity. You just try to get them over to Facebook to see the opportunity, and then you talk to them. And I think that was sort of like a light went off for me, because for me it was like, where's my in? I was constantly like navigating the conversation to figure out when can I insert, my value and get them to become part of our team. But now I just focus on sort of finding the right moment to bring them over to Facebook. And I haven't found it yet, but at least I've narrowed down who I'm talking to and what I'm waiting for. So I feel like the pieces are there. I've just got to put them together.
Right. And I feel like too, you're gonna feel that with people. Like sometimes I'll have this big list, and I'll have thinking to myself, you're just gonna get all these people and invite them all, and it doesn't go that way. So you say hi to them, how's it going, and then their cat died or their grandmother's funeral's tomorrow or something. So I wouldn't go any further with the conversation about inviting them to a challenge group. Then I'd have to wait till next week, because it's like, I want them to be my friend first and foremost and trust me and that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's just, so uncaring to try to, it's tough because, people's social media is for personal use too. So you don't want to encroach too much upon them with being salesy and rude. And I feel like all the things that the top coaches are trying to tell us about being consistent and just doing the daily things every single day, it's really starting to come to fruition, because now I have my warm markets are coming back to me saying, hey, I saw this post. I really do think I'm interested in this, and this. And it would be somebody that I would never probably approach because they're a friend, or I know that they're going to the gym or something. And it happened this week. This girl saw my Turbo Fire, and she's asking me questions about it. And I was like, gee, I didn't even think you'd be interested, but I'm glad you are. She turns out she drinks Isagenix and wanted to know the difference between that and Shakeology. And I'm like, So, something like that, where I've known this girl through another friend for all this time, she's just seeing my information all the time come up, and, that kind of thing. So another reason why you're coming over to Facebook, not necessarily for you to be selling them, but for them to just see what you're all about, to see that you're genuine, to see that you're really doing those exercises, and that you're really eating quinoa and all those things that you're doing, those kinds of stuff. So I do think that everybody needs to find their own way, though, because there's some people that would say you should do it this way, or 2 messages only, and then get them over to Facebook. I've heard coaches say that. So I don't think you can put a number on that. I think it has to do with the person's personality, where the conversation's going. Like, I wouldn't all of a sudden abruptly tell somebody, come to my Facebook page, if it was like not going well, or they weren't giving me answers to the questions, or they, one-line words or whatever. I feel like you need to build that rapport first and foremost, and then you kind of do that with them. But it's definitely something you have to feel out too.
Definitely.
Okay. Anything, Sarah, that you can think of? I feel like you probably don't have any, or maybe a little or something.
I just wanted to know, do you guys have a separate Facebook page from your personal one for your Beachbody stuff?
That is a really good question, because I think that everybody also has their opinions as to why or why not they should have both. Because when you go through the trainings and stuff, the thing that they'll talk to you about or will talk to you about is that you want your audience to get to know you, as you know, your family, your likes, your dislikes, and that kind of stuff. So if you have a like page that's just all about Beachbody, you know, that kind of takes away from what you're all about on a personal level. I think it's something that you need to kind of figure out for yourself. I do have a like page. I didn't start that way, and I added one, and then now I'm almost second guessing the extra work involved in maintaining both. I'm doing a higher level training right now, and they have told us that if you have both pages, you want to be posting in between both every hour and a half, and that's a lot. And I started to actually keep a log, and I was having trouble coming up with stuff, and it's like you don't want to inundate your personal page with Beachbody because you know you're going to turn everybody off by doing that. But in the same token, you're just making a lot of extra work for yourself. I think that the thing is going to cut me off because I'm not on the pro. The Zoom video is probably going to cut us off. But if you guys have more questions, we can get back on or chat after. So to answer your question, I do. Today I was almost thinking I might do a couple of basic things on my like page, but focus on the personal just because, you know, I want people to get to know or know me as on a personal level. I think that everybody feels differently about that, but I do find that having both is a lot of work.
Okay.
A lot of extra work that you might not need or want, you know.
Okay.
Because it's like having, you know, Twitter and Instagram and all those other things too. If you're trying to balance all of those different social media